What's popping, y'all? Listen, I'm coming to tell you this. Stop wasting time. Stop taking your energy and your time and putting it in places that you know it's not supposed to be. That's one. The second thing I want to tell you is stop getting distracted by the appearance of the lack of movement when it comes to your life, right? See, some people get discouraged because they don't see what's happening in the background. They get discouraged because they don't see a bunch of movement in the forefront of their life where a lot of things is going. You've been putting in a lot of work. You've been learning, you've been doing everything that you know you need to be doing, and it still seems like nothing's popping for you. But don't be distracted because the movement takes place behind the movement. You hear that? The movement takes place behind the movement. What do I mean by that? I mean, behind the scenes is where all the work is going, right? So I was reading the other day and they talked about, I believe it's the oak tree. It may be the oak tree, but, or maybe the bamboo. Maybe it's the bamboo tree. One of them, this tree grows for 5 to 7 years underground before it ever breaks dirt, right? So when you plant this tree, this particular tree, it takes 5 to 7 years for you to see any evidence of it ever being planted. Can you imagine that? You go in your backyard, you happy, you put this seed in there, you watering it, 1 month pass, 2 month pass, you might be patient. But when 6 months pass and you've been watering this thing, you out there, you don't see no evidence, and then a year pass, then 2 years, you about like, you know what, forget it. Just imagine you put 5 years and nothing. But then all of a sudden, they say between that 5 to 7 year period, it breaks ground. But guess what? Within months, it grows hundreds of feet straight up. But two things, the delay in coming out of the ground, going upward, is the strengthening of the roots in the ground. So some things you've been sowing and you haven't saw no evidence of the evidence of the evidence. But guess what? Your roots are getting strong. Your roots are getting deep. You're building strength. You're building courage. You're building everything you need to sprout up out the ground. And just like that tree, grow hundreds of feet within months. And people gonna think you popped up out of nowhere. Where'd she come from? Where he come from? They just came out of nowhere, but they don't know the years of work you've been putting in. So listen, do not be distracted by the appearance of the lack of movement, because I promise you, keep putting the work in, keep putting the time in, keep putting the studying in, keep segregating yourself, get away from people with negative energy, keep putting the work in, and I guarantee you it's going to sprout up out of nowhere and everybody going to be looking. See, listen, let me tell you one thing I found out. A lot of people hate to look up. They hate to see you go up because they hate to look up because it hurt their neck to look up at you. So people want you to stay where they are. They want to stay, keep you connected. But let me tell you, you will only be as rich or as successful as the closest 5 people to you. So look in your phone. Look and see who you talk to the most. And out of those 5 people, if they're not doing miraculous or supernatural things, if they're not thinking about supernatural things, if they're not thinking about doing huge things, you need to monitor how much time you give that person. It's not like they're a bad person, but I'm trying to tell you, birds of the feather flock together. So if you're talking to people that really don't have no goals, all they can talk about is the next basketball wife show or with the next sitcom or girl, what's popping, or we went out and turned up. If that's all their conversation is about, monitor your time. And don't feel bad if you leave. Don't feel bad, because I'm telling you right now, when you die, it's 1 to a box. Nobody else gonna be there with you. And you're going to be judged by if you did what you were supposed to do. Not what your mom was supposed to do, your best friend who at the club turning up every night. None of that stuff. You're gonna be judged by what you were meant to do. And let me tell you, what are we celebrating? What are we celebrating when we gotta get drunk and high every single day? It's a Monday. After work, I gotta go have a drink and smoke. What are we celebrating? I understand if it's a Friday, you done worked all week, and you want to have a little drink or something, you want to go out or you accomplish something in your life, but people have started celebrating. Every day is about drinking, smoking. All this stuff is a distraction. All this stuff is a distraction. Listen, it's time to focus up. It's time to focus on what you were called to do. It's time to focus on your destiny. It's time to focus on your children and their destiny so that we all can be great and build generational wealth. I know you can do it. I believe you can do it. I know that we can do it. So be strong, be in love, stay encouraged, and let's get it.